What's going on, guys? Seth and Josh here for Tasty Loot Gaming, doing a tasty bit. Letting you guys know that due to some really stupid scheduling this week, there is no Tasty Cast. There also will not be Tasty Tuesday. To make up for that, I will be putting out at least one other episode later this week with, whatever news drops or whatever I feel is good at the time. So yeah, apologies if you guys understand. And to make up for that, we're going to be having a discussion here real quick, something we're going to talk about on Tasty Cast. But before that, quick reminders to download and play Goat Simulator and Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection, both offered for free on PlayStation Plus. Make sure to download those, play those, come back at the end of the month for Plus Club. Let us know what you thought of those games. We'll let you know what we thought of them. And our game of the month randomly picked is Vindictus, which is a 1 to 4 player cooperative action RPG, free to play, only on PC. Make sure to download that, play that, or if you played in the past, like 12 years ago when it first came out, come back at the end of the month for game of the month. Let us know what you thought of that as well. We have a Discord link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, or the podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us. And if you like what we do here, you can support us by commenting, sharing, liking, subscribing. And if you love us even more than that, and that's not enough for you, we have a Patreon link down below. Check it out. So one thing we were going to talk about on Tastecast, but that didn't happen, is delays. Delays have been running rampant lately, and I want to have a general conversation about how we feel about delays, but also more specifically the delays that have been announced recently. It seems like, after Final Fantasy VII got delayed into the month of hell at the time, every game that's coming out, high profile. Another thing they could have done was, said, like, Last of Us 2 is doing so well, we're going to release it early and put that in April as well. It seems like after that happened, everybody was like, oh, me too. I want to do that as well. And, luckily, in my opinion, Cyberpunk got delayed out of that fucking month. So, to catch everybody up, I'm going to go through real fast and kind of letting you guys know what's going on here. So, Square Enix has delayed Final Fantasy VII Remake. That's coming out April 10th now. Originally, that was March. Do you remember?
No, it was later March or early March.
I keep on saying March 7th or something, but that's probably me just going Final Fantasy VII.
No, it's like March 7th or 12th or something like that.
Yeah. Well, Final Fantasy VII was going to come out in March, got pushed back to April 10th, and now Avengers, if that's on your radar, has been pushed back to September 4th, the same month as Cyberpunk. Apparently, Square Enix couldn't get enough of going, let's put Final Fantasy VII with Cyberpunk in April, and then they moved Cyberpunk and like, let's move another one of our games to Cyberpunk. I don't know why they're trying to fucking directly compete with them.
Let's straight up lose our ass on this fucking Avengers game because...
Yeah, pretty much.
If you have $60, what are you going to buy? Like Cyberpunk or Avengers.
Well, and I'm one of those guys who fucking will pick up a lot of games in a month, whatever, kind of catches my fucking fancy, and Avengers isn't on my radar, really. Like, I don't care about it.
After seeing the gameplay of it, I was like, this is kind of shit.
Yeah, like, I can appreciate what they're trying to do with it, but it just is not hitting the mark. It could be awesome, I don't know. But a game that I'm thinking could be awesome, I don't know, coming out the same month as one of the most hyped games of 2020, one of the most hyped games of the last fucking, 5-6 years. It's a really bad month to release that game. Like, they had a stronger chance with Final Fantasy VII because those games would have sold independently just fine. They wouldn't have affected each other.
Yeah.
But this game is like, people are like, I don't know. And then it's coming out with that. So, real quick, according to The Verge, they say Square Enix has announced delays for 2 of its most anticipated 2020 games. Final Fantasy VII Remake has been pushed from March 3rd. Didn't you say March 3rd?
You said 7th.
Close. To April 10th, while the upcoming Marvel's Avengers has been delayed from April 15th, see, I didn't know the date of that game, to September 4th. Both games' development teams are explaining their respective delays are needed to give the developers more time to polish the gameplay experiences. The other 2 games that got delayed recently are Polish games, so I read that wrong in my head. We are making this tough decision in order to give ourselves a few extra weeks to apply final polish to the game and to deliver you with the best possible experience, commented Yoshinori Kitase, the producer of Final Fantasy VII Remake. I, on behalf of the whole team, want to apologize to everyone, as I know this means waiting for the game just a little bit longer. Thank you for your patience and continued support. There is ads everywhere.
Yeah, it's a fucking mess.
I hate these websites.
Fuck you, Verge.
It just shows they're dying. Fuck them. Scott Amos and Ron Rosenberg, the heads of Crystal Dynamics, posted a similar statement regarding Marvel's Avengers. We will spend this additional development time focusing on the fine-tuning and polishing the game to the high standards. Fucking The Verge. What about those high standards on your guys' part? Our fans expect and deserve. So, it sounds like both games need a little bit of polish. They got the game going, but they're like, there's that scene where the guy doesn't look quite right there, or fucking this cutscene kind of has something that kind of seems kind of weird, so we need to fix all that before it comes out. Before we dive in further on our just delays discussion, do you have any thoughts on these two specific games?
I'm at not specifically those two games.
Nothing.
No, we already discussed Avengers. I'm not into it.
Yeah.
I probably won't be into it. So unless it gets like a straight 10 out of, like all the websites would be like, this is a 10 review. Not that I trust them anymore.
I still would remain skeptical.
Yeah.
Especially because now my trust with those websites is I use them all as like an aggregate, like fucking like
Metacritic.
Yeah, but it's still weaker than it used to be.
Yeah.
It still is a slight guide, but like someone I know like personally, if they recommend it, it outweighs like all the fucking journalists.
Yeah, or somebody from the community was like,
exactly.
Hey, you guys need to try this game. It's
or somebody
good.
on YouTube I trust.
Yeah.
Like all those people, if they were like, dude, okay, honestly, this game is way better than it looked like, then I'd be curious about it. But if all the sites are like 10 out of 10, I'd be like, I'm going to look into it a little further.
Yeah.
If I don't hear that, I probably won't look into it because it's not really something on my radar. So it getting pushed back, good for it. Hopefully they can make it better, more appealing or interesting looking in that time. And for people who are excited about it, all I would say is, wait and hopefully it's done to a standard that you like. The Final Fantasy VII thing. Kind of going into the idea of, or the discussion of delays, I don't mind delays as long as they're reasonable, especially if you follow the production or the development of a game. You can kind of gauge how much the delay is going to actually affect things. If the game's been delayed for 8 years, there's a problem. If it gets delayed like once, especially for like a couple months, you can pretty much gauge it's a smaller thing they're working on. If it's a big delay, something happened. Typically, it's not always the same every time.
Well, yeah, to me it seems like they were QAing Final Fantasy and like they found just like one repeatable bug or something like that, and then you just squash it for it.
If it's a couple months, you can do a lot of like coding stuff. You can fix a couple things. You're not doing you're not bringing in people to do more voice acting or acting. There's no time for that or money at that point in development typically. But yeah, it just seems like maybe the menu system could use some tweaking. They had some people come in and they're like, oh, I don't like this. Enough people said it. They're like, we should fix that.
Should change this real quick.
Yeah.
And at least they're delaying it instead of just shoving the shit out.
Yeah,
there was
for sure.
a long time there. It was just get it out.
Well, there's a bunch of companies that their philosophy will be release it on time because it needs to get out. I always talk positively about Ubisoft, but they will release a game sometimes with some issues, and then they will fix it over the next year and make it really awesome. But their philosophy is very malleable and dynamic. They'll support the fuck out of a game. They'll fix it as it goes, but sometimes their launches are pretty...
they can get hairy.
Yeah, upsetting.
Unity was pretty bad.
Yep. A lot of... just fucking Breakpoint. They're still fixing that fucking game. That game came out, people were like, this isn't finished. I'm like, whew.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to kind of summarize what I was saying, what I was saying, in my opinion, Final Fantasy VII getting delayed at first freaked me out because of Cyberpunk, but it's fine now. That month is looking a lot better for me now that Cyberpunk got fucking shoved back. Avengers, I don't care so much, but the delays seem reasonable in my opinion.
Does it seem not like this was like a team effort, but does it seems like everybody was like into this, and then it almost seemed like they all just went, okay, let's spread it out just like a little bit, because I mean,
possibly,
but it more than likely it's probably just issues, but like,
well, there's people on Twitter and people do this when they're like parts of like online communities being nice about that. there's a very small community of people going like, oh, Cyberpunk was afraid of Final Fantasy VII. And no. No, it's not.
Oh.
In my opinion, and I've said this multiple times on the channel, my top 3 games I am already calling will most likely be Final Fantasy VII, Cyberpunk, and fucking Last of Us Part 2. I don't think there's a big chance of anything bigger than those games for this year. But Cyberpunk, its hype alone as a new IP has been bigger than any game building up to 2020. Final Fantasy VII's close, but the thing that Cyberpunk has that Final Fantasy VII doesn't is it's a brand new game by a company that's only pretty much done The Witcher. So,
and only have done or if The Witcher 3 is any indication, they've come off a huge win.
Their standards super high. Their fucking reception is always bigger and bigger and bigger every time they've released a game. So there's a lot of fucking hype behind Cyberpunk. So it is, the premier game this year. But then, of course, you have Final Fantasy VII and other games. Going back, people saying like they're afraid of Final Fantasy VII, they're not. If anything, they're afraid of fucking failing people. That's the only thing they can be worried about.
Yeah.
And again, that's not demoting Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII doesn't have to worry about Cyberpunk. These games will sell the same that they were gonna, regardless of when they release. Unless that month your money's tight, but you're gonna pick up the other game anyway, if you were interested in it. And one of the games isn't gonna sway you out of picking up the other one. So the delays of both these games only tell me that they just need work done, and there's no like fear of the other thing. Again, with Avengers, good luck. So anyway, to catch everybody up with something that came out like four fucking days ago, and we already talked about it, but Cyberpunk was delayed to September 17th. This is actually something I celebrate. I already talked about before, but we had a month where we had Resident Evil 3, Final Fantasy VII, and Cyberpunk coming out within like 2 weeks of each other.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Not only money-wise is that kind of shit, but it's also time investment-wise. Not only do I, jokingly, just don't have the time to play these games, I don't want to rush through Resident Evil 3. I don't want to rush through fucking Final Fantasy VII just to make sure I have time for Cyberpunk.
And I don't want to, because I did this with the Outer Worlds. It got to the point where I was like, okay, I need to play Call of Duty. I need to get through this because they came out on the exact same day. So you're right. It's almost, I don't want my experience tarnished by my need to want to play the other games.
Yeah. Resident Evil 3 is a game I can hop in, I can play. I can probably get pretty far into it by the time Final Fantasy VII comes out. But if I were to have to leave that game, I would have no issue coming back and playing it. Final Fantasy VII is a game I'm gonna want to fucking savor. I'm gonna want to play and just really enjoy myself and not worry about Cyberpunk coming out a week later. So now that this is the case, it's perfect. Because, again, the next month after this, Last of Us Part 2 is coming out. So not only would I be I would have been playing those 3 games in those 2 weeks, moving into like fucking May, I think. Last of Us Part 2 will be coming out. I'll be like, oh shit, I need to fucking get these done before that comes out because I need to be able to play that. Now I can comfortably play Resident Evil 3, move into 7, put my time into 7 as much as I need, play Last of Us Part 2, and probably have that beaten and all by the time Cyberpunk comes out. So it's really fucking perfect.
Yeah.
So for me, this is preferable by a lot. Some people are disappointed. I had this like thing in the back of my brain, the child part of my brain. Not saying anybody who's disappointed with this is childish or anything like that. I'm just saying the in the back of my brain, as soon as I read delay, I was like, no, give me that fucking game now. Like, what are you doing? But I was like, no, stop. This is good. This gives us time to fucking play the other games. So, plus this is a game that really needs to be not perfect. No game's perfect, but they have to nail this game because the hype behind it, people will fucking go insane. And then there'll be people who will defend it, people will attack it, and there'll be a whole fucking war. It'll be ridiculous. So this is a game I'm really just like going like, take your time, fucking get it done, make it, as good as you possibly can because there's a lot riding on it.
Yeah, that's always a double-edged sword of having a fucking huge premier game like that. Duke Nukem fell to it. It's like, fuck, Duke Nukem's back.
That was in development hell for 8 years, like The Last Guardian.
But everybody was like, oh my god, Duke Nukem, and then it came out to be like a disappointment. And if they just threw it on us without like having this weird fucking menagerie of bullshit happening with it, I think it would have gotten it would have been remembered as, just a mediocre first-person shooter instead of this giant piece of shit that wasted everybody's time.
Yeah. Well, I also don't think that Gearbox as a developer understood what Duke Nukem was, because they were like, let's make him hold shit in a bathroom and draw with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, why is he a toddler?
Yeah.
He was never like, I mean, he was just a fucking chauvinistic fucking buff action guy in the last games where he's fucking checking out chicks and fucking shooting.
Dance.
Yeah, all that that was pretty decent. But yeah, then they're like, his name's Duke Nukem.
Shake it, baby.
Anyway, yeah, so real quick, just, you guys already know this information, but we're going to talk about it a little bit. They essentially pushed back this to September 17th. As you guys, I'm sure, already know, for polish reasons. They just want to make sure it's, everything's good, whatever. The other news I kind of want to throw in here as well, though, is there are gaming journalist companies. They all at the same time all posted the same fucking clickbait, title to the article, saying that this will cause the company to have to do crunch. Crunch is essentially working more hours than before, and that causes problems because people get tired, they get fatigued, all that shit. And it's been a big thing talked about in gaming for the last couple of years. But, of course, gaming journalists are like, there's going to be crunch with this delay. They're not talking about the crunch of any other games delayed. They're talking about CYBERPUNK's delay having crunch because it's the big title with the big name. So they're just trying to get clicks. But, just like 2 weeks ago, they were looking at Escape from Tarkov and going, you need to make new character models in that game because we're not happy with the ones you have. And they're like, that wasn't part of our plan. And they're like, oh, you hate women? And then they wanted them to crunch to make that. So they can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, that whole thing is stupid because they delayed it. So, maybe they're also kind of relieving a little bit of crunch also.
Yeah, well, they were asked about it, and they were asked about the crunch part. And they're like, well, yeah, it's definitely going to be a part of it because delays happen sometimes, and you have to work extra hard to fucking fix it. Yeah. Crunch is shitty if it's like a regular part of the development. There are companies that just start out with crunch. Yeah. You need to work your ass off like a fucking sweatshop
every fucking day.
This it was not a planned fucking delay. So they're like, okay, the next couple months is gonna be rough, but we gotta make this game perfect.
Yeah,
it's
we
admirable.
have to get our product out.
Yeah, it's admirable. It's fine. Like fucking, there's layers to this shit. But again, this is just the fucking the stupid fucking gaming journalists looking for rage bait and trying to get you to click by posting dumb shit. So anyway, all of that said, there will be some crunch involved with this. Crunch is not good typically, but they're hypocrites and they're fucking stupid. So I trust CD Projekt Red and what they're doing. Another thing that they also kind of confirmed, they've been talking about the multiplayer component for a while. It's been up in the air for a while. Everybody's been kind of speculating on if it's going to happen, if it's not going to happen. I've been saying since the beginning that it's definitely going to happen because if you read the grant that CD Projekt Red got from the Polish government, one of the 4 pillars of what they had to do to get that money from them was have a multiplayer component. So I've been wondering this whole time, there's going to have to be one because why would they agree to it if they weren't going to do it?
And they were talking about there's another AAA game in development alongside, and then everybody's like, fuck, what, Witcher already? Jesus.
That was the thing. They said they're working on a AAA game. They came out and confirmed this is that AAA game, which is interesting to word it that way.
Yeah.
Because it almost sounds like an independent game at that point, even though it's going to be a free add-on or whatever. But kind of the build-up to that, though, is there was that hint on what the contract said they were supposed to do. Then they openly were saying they were experimenting with multiplayer. They said they didn't know what they wanted to do with it, but they're experimenting with it. We covered that many times on the channel. And then it kind of went quiet for a little bit, but then, this news comes out that, according to The Verge, it says the multiplayer component for Cyberpunk 2077 was also originally supposed to launch after the game's April debut, among other free add-ons. In an investor call after the announcement, CD Projekt Red said the multiplayer option probably won't launch until after 2021. The studio has promised more updates about the game in general as we get closer. So kind of what we already talked about a bit here, they confirmed it is coming. We all kind of knew that anyway, but even early on, I was looking into that and they have to do it. Some people are kind of worried about it, some people aren't. I'm not worried about it. I never have been because this game has always seemed, the way they talk about this game, it's always about the game itself. we have no reason to assume CD Projekt Red will put less work into the single player because of the multiplayer, because they haven't done that in the past.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't done this at all in any way in the past, but like The Witcher 3 is a full-ass game with 17 fucking free DLCs and 2 expansions that are fucking 40 hours.
Yeah.
Like a piece.
Or games in themselves.
Yeah, so there's no reason. They haven't shown us a reason to think otherwise. Like, why? Like, some people are kind of worried about, like, Cyberpunk as a game is going to be lesser because of the multiplayer. This only further concretes what I'm thinking when it comes to them being developed separately, is this is coming out fucking like a year or two later.
Mm-hmm.
That not only as a add-on, or, well, I don't know, I'm going like this for add-on, but like, because it is an add-on, but that not only for like, just, it's not going to be tacked on. It can't be, because the development cycle for this is now entering the realm of a game. Mm-hmm. And they referred to it as a AAA game before when it was secret, and now they're confirming it is the AAA game they're working on. So this tells me that we're going to get Cyberpunk. It's going to come out. They worked on it longer, for years, on the single player, and this multiplayer component, I don't think is going to be a small thing. Some people are like, oh, it'd be kind of cool if there's like some like little mini games or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think this is going to be a bigger thing, because this is taking them extra years to develop.
Yeah, I think it's more of a jump into Night City with us, and we're hanging out in cars together and fucking like...
I feel like you're going to be, at the very least, one-on-one with another person, at the very least.
Yeah.
In the city, being able to do stuff. They might have, dare I say, fucking Grand Theft Auto Online style, like, missions to do and stuff like that. Because when you read that grant that they got from the Polish government, it was essentially saying that they wanted a multiplayer component, but they wanted it to be like an online experience. It sounded like they're trying to rival Rockstar, and I don't think they're going to be able to do it because they don't have the same background as Rockstar, but because they have evolved differently as companies. But it almost seemed like the Polish government wanted that, because they said they wanted a cinematic game, a realistic-looking game, a game with multiplayer online stuff, and I think this is what they're working on.
And I don't think it's too much of a stretch to maybe... you're with a companion for a lot of the game. I mean,
you can
like,
have one, yeah. I think I'll be able to switch them out and shit.
So, I mean, like, just having that as being a player-controlled character.
Yeah, well, the only problem with that, though, I don't think you're going to be doing a whole lot of the story stuff unless it, everybody's story, it just shows your cinematic and not what the other person in it. I'd be surprised if they did that, though. Just because this game has so many immersive cinematic scenes happening, that as it's going, you're pressing buttons to make decisions and stuff, that it'd be very hard to do with a second person in the scene with you. But if somebody else was like playing with you, and then when the cutscene happened, they're just watching your story's cinematic play out as you interact with it, that's completely doable. I don't see them allowing you to go through the same story while you're impacting it with them, though. That'd be so much fucking work, it'd be ridiculous. But I could see having other quests around the city you can do with somebody else, possibly, but we'll see. I do think this will be a cooperative thing, though.
Tinfoil hat time.
Sure.
When the multiplayer component comes out, I believe it'll be a cross-generational, like what Grand Theft Auto did. So it'll be kind of like updated, and it'll have that just built into the game with it.
I mean, probably. It's just going to be an add-on. I don't know if they're selling it separately or not. I mean, it says free add-on, but we don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
For sure. But, I mean, everyone's kind of on the same page when it comes to Cyberpunk being it's coming out late in the cycle, so it will come out on both. Luckily, I'm getting on PS4, and I'll be buying it on PC, so I won't have to worry about, not getting the best graphics. But, because I want to play it on PC, but I bought the Collector's Edition on PS4 for whatever reason. So, but yeah, when this component comes out, I'm sure by that time it will be on both consoles already. So when this comes out, you'll probably download the multiplayer and play it with it. But yeah, maybe there might be also like a Ultimate Edition by then that has whatever has come out since then with it and shit like that. So
or a Game of the Year edition.
Yeah. All in all, though, I have no concerns about the multiplayer component. I don't think it's negatively affected the single-player development. I think it will be... it's already being developed on its own. While the game will be out, it'll still be worked on, so that's a good sign to me. The delay for Cyberpunk is not bad at all. Remember, this game was never had a hard date. When they first announced it or talked about it years later, they said that it will come out when it comes out. In fact, when they said it was going to come out in April, it almost seemed like they're just trying to give us a fucking, like an estimate. I know I'm giving them a lot of leeway, but they're kind of like id back in the day. They were very much like, it'll be done when it's done. And I always respect that because it means that they're in it for the long haul. They want to make a really good game, and they're not pulling like a Activision, EA, Ubisoft. They're like, it's coming out this date, and it's getting delayed only if we have to. So yeah, I'm happy with the delay. I think they'll do well. They've said recently the game's playable from beginning to end, and they said that a long time ago as well. So this polishing I guarantee has to do with like just every little itsy bitsy fucking piece of this whole fucking world. They're just making sure it's completely good. I'm sure the game is pretty much done at this point. And yeah, I can't wait for the multiplayer. Some people are kind of weird and against it, and if you don't play it, I mean, it's a separate thing. More content's better to me, especially if it's spread out like this. This isn't like they're not just shoving this in, kind of like EA when it came to a lot of the games for a while. There with like Dragon Quest and Mass Effect, they would shove in those multiplayer modes, and they were kind of fun, but they're also kind of not Dragon Quest. I love Dragon Quest. But yeah, Dragon Age, Inquisition had it. Mass Effect 3 and 4, I believe. No, Andromeda, not 4. All had.
Yeah, it was that weird. You just went through corridors and just killed stuff.
Yeah, it was like a wave-based thing.
Rewards.
Yeah, they all had that. The exact same mode, pretty much. And that's tacked on. I'm not complaining. I thought it was kind of fun, but it wasn't like a fucking awesome experience. And the game might have suffered a bit from it. I don't know. But those feel tacked on. This won't feel tacked on. I have full confidence in CD Projekt Red. Anything you want to say before we move on to the next thing real quick?
Aren't single-player games dead?
EA said that years ago, and fucking they've just been wrong.
This whole fucking time.
I think they said that in 2016 or 17, and then 2018 happened with God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2 and a couple other things. And people are like, what are you talking about? Look at all these single-player games, specifically with Sony, that's just fucking killing it. Yeah. EA, their CEO needs to leave. They need to get someone else in there. They were hesitant to make, I was reading recently, they didn't want Fallen Order to essentially be what it is. They also didn't want a Jedi in it, and they're like, what about blasters? Why isn't it like mercenaries? And they're like, no, we really got a good idea for like Jedi stuff. And they're like, and it did well. So people running EA, they want money.
I thought Lucasfilm said that.
Oh, I don't know. I just read a little bit of the article, and they were fucking.
Yeah,
they didn't want it to happen.
Yeah, they wanted like bounty hunters and shit like that instead of.
Yeah. But that's probably them protecting their ability to tell the stories that they want through all the Disney shit. And they're like, you don't get to tell Jedi stories, we do. Well, you guys have been fucking it up, so let someone else try. And then lastly, a delay that just got announced today is Dying Light 2 has been delayed indefinitely. Dying Light 2 becomes the next major title to move out of the spring release season at the last minute. Apparently that's just not a good time for people. So it says Dying Light 2, the open world action sequel from Polish developer Techland. Something's going on in Poland, guys. We got Polish followers of the channel. Fucking let us know what's going on, guys. Has been delayed indefinitely from its original launch window of spring 2020. In a statement announcing the new CEO, Pavel Markova, let me know in the comments. We were initially aiming for a spring 2020 release with Dying Light 2, but unfortunately we need more development time to fulfill our vision. We will have more details to share in the coming months, and we'll get back to you as soon as we have more information. We apologize for this unwelcome news. Our priority is to deliver experience that lives up to our own high standards and to the expectations of you, our fans. You can read the full statement below, which we're not going to do. This is the fourth title to receive a significant delay at the see that ad just fucking popped down here, and then it reintroduces itself over here. Hey. God, I fucking hate these people. Yeah, so that's both Final Fantasy VII Remake and Avengers, which we've already covered. Yeah, not much else to talk about with that. That got delayed indefinitely. Just a theory real quick. I think something came up big that they're like, we need to fix this now. And so it was so big that they can't give it a date yet.
Yeah.
So once they figure out how long it's going to take to fix whatever the issue is, they'll probably put the date out then.
Mm-hmm.
But just because of the nature of this and how I'm reading this and the way that they're not giving a date at all, just tells me that last second they're like, wait, this is not coming. This isn't going to come out in spring.
Mm-hmm.
We got to fucking fix whatever the problem is. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a date get announced soonish. But it is kind of worrying to hear that they don't know.
Yeah. Considering like Dying Light 1, they did crazy things with.
Yeah.
Like, they did so much neat stuff with it. Plus all the DLCs that came out and stuff like that. They literally added vehicles to a game that didn't have vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And they played perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I can't imagine what it could be, but hopefully it gets...
I think it's most likely has to do with something within like the engine or tech, but also networking.
Mm-hmm.
Because the game has looked pretty finished since I first saw it, let alone anything I've seen recently. It always looks fun. This is a game that I am anticipating. I am a huge fan of Dying Light, so Dying Light 2 will be... I'll definitely be picking it up when it comes out. But this tells me something pretty major happened. Not necessarily major in the sense of like bad, this game's fucked, but major in the sense of like it just sprang on them and they're like, we have to figure out an estimate, but we got to tell people it's not coming out soon. Hopefully we get an announcement on when it's going to come out though sooner than later, because it is worrying. The wording on this is really kind of sketchy. Yeah. Because normally people are like, oh, a couple of months, but they don't even want to tell you that. Like some people are like, oh, give us a couple months, but they're like, I don't know. But we're gonna delay it. So this is kind of shitty news though, and hopefully they can get it fixed and get it out. Hopefully it's not in development hell where it's gonna come out like a year from now or 2 years from now. That would really fucking suck, especially for a game like Dying Light 2, because it has a following, but it's not as big as a lot of games. So. But yeah, overall, not worried yet, but this one is more worrying for me just because this is kind of why I wanted to talk about delays in general, because they're all contextual. They all have, their reasons, and a lot of people I'll talk to, and they're always like, it got delayed, what do you think about that? I'm like, it's not that big a deal. Normally, in my opinion, delays are good. Most of the time. Sometimes they're not. It's all contextual. But yeah, we have a very good variety, smorgasbord of fucking delays recently to kind of see all the differences. You got Final Fantasy VII getting a little baby one, you got a fucking respectable CYBERPUNK delay, and then you got a questionable fucking Avengers delay. Not questionable in the sense of why they're doing it, but it's a weird date to pick after CYBERPUNK. And then you got this very almost scary delay of like, we got to delay this, I don't know when it's coming out.
There hasn't been a whole lot of news on Dying Light 2. It's been kind of dark.
Well, they've been every major gaming event they show it.
Oh fuck! I guess I've just been missing it because like
it's not high profile. But if you like Google like Gamescom or E3 or any of the events, and then look up Dying Light 2, someone was playing it.
Did you
someone
see
recorded it
at E3? Yeah, I was just because like I saw like the very first cinematic-ish teaser, I guess, trailer. And that's all I've seen on it.
Yeah, I've seen videos of like a guy like swinging through like a fucking bell tower and kicking a dude and like running around, and like they show that the world is like more overgrown now, which is really neat looking, and it's just like further in the future of that world, so like everything's progressed. There's like more, it's feeling more like there's societies and stuff now, or cultures and shit.
Yeah, and there's like factions, I think, and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's definitely, I really do like Dying Light, so it's high profile for me, but not for everybody. It was definitely a better step in the right direction from Dead Island, which I liked, but was clunky and buggy as shit. And then that has an indefinite fucking delay as well. Dead Island 2. That shit's been in development for goddamn 14 years.
Yeah.
And then it had to switch developer. The original guys got fired or something like that, and then they handed it over to someone else. I'm like, that's a Duke Nukem situation.
Yeah, that's not looking good.
Yeah. So, all in all, just, delays happen. I think they're normally pretty good. You just got to keep an eye on it. Keep, an eye on what they're saying about it. If they keep delaying it, that's not a good sign. If it gets delayed for a long time, that's not a good sign. But, a delay within a year for polishing is not too unheard of. And I would always prefer longer development and delay than rushing a game out and being underdeveloped. Because if you underdevelop a game and you put it out, people are going to be fucking pissed. If you take a little longer to make sure the game's good, people are going to be disappointed, but they're going to love it when they get it. That seems to be how it works every single time, unless, the outliers, the variables. So, I'm not worried. I'm actually, again, with Cyberpunk, I'm happy about it. That opens up my schedule a bit. It opens up my ability to buy these games easier, and yeah, it's all pretty decent. I just, again, hope and wish good luck for Avengers. You picked a real shit month to release that game, and they're probably thinking, oh, it comes out 10 days before Cyberpunk, so you got time to play it. Yeah, I don't know. People are going to be thinking about Cyberpunk. And Dying Light 2. Hopefully we hear more from them. Anything you want to say on delays or any of these specific games?
I'll have to probably schedule some vacation for Cyberpunk.
I did. I literally was going to schedule, it's crazy, I was going to schedule vacation for Cyberpunk in April. And literally that day, I was going to schedule it. And I was like, I'm going to wait. I want to kind of feel out my vacation and see what days I want to take. And I took a day, because at work we got to fucking put it into a system. And fucking the next day I came in and that delay got fucking announced. So I was like, woo, I'm glad. Not that I wouldn't be able to change it. I would just have to go through the process of fucking typing it all in again. But it got delayed, so I was like, oh shit, okay. I'll take those days off now. So it worked out perfectly for me. It was very serendipitous. But I'm taking vacation during E3, regardless if I go or not. Show's weddings are on E3, so I don't know if I'm going to go this year, although I really want to. And Cyberpunk, because that's worth taking a week off. So, yeah, anything else?
No.
That's going to do it for this tasty bit on Tasty Loot Gaming. As always, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you think about these delays. Are you worried? Are you not worried? Specifically on each game, is there different feelings you have? Are you more worried about this, not worried about that? Are you worried about the multiplayer? What do you think about the multiplayer in Cyberpunk? Let us know everything in the comments below. But yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. I fucking just jumped into that outro. I was ready to leave. On Tasty Loot Gaming, as always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Enjoy this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook, and TikTok at Tasty Loot Gaming. Check out my streams. Links down below. You can talk to us anytime, all time, in our Discord link down below as well. And we're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us. And if you'd like to support the channel, anything we get goes right back into the channel. Check out our Patreon down below. My name's Seth.
I'm Josh.
And until next episode, there will be something this week, but Tasty Tuesday, we can't do it this week. So look forward to something coming out this week. And until then, have a good week, guys, and take it easy.